We wish everybody a good morning, and please continue to eat while we speak. I'm going to first call upon Mr. Reggie Gordon, Director of the Office of Community Wealth Building of the City of Richmond, to offer welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Rabbi. First, I want to say thank you all for being here, and thank you to our best friends, the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy. We are all partners in a movement, a community wealth building movement, and at the core of this is economic stability. A living wage is essential to economic stability. We've known this fact. We've, of course, had structured and structural restraints that have made this hard to have happen in our community. Yet we're not overwhelmed by this. We're moving forward. These opportunities are opening up for us, and the barriers are coming down. So this is significant. Today is a testament to that. And this is how we chart a new future for our fellow Richmonders. It is not an overstatement to say that people employed by the companies we recognize today have a better chance to succeed in this community. For this, we are grateful. This means there are better opportunities for their children, all due to the resources brought into their households because they have a living wage. And I hate to use this maybe ill-timed analogy, but this is the beginning of a snowball. People will get why I said that. So this is a snowball effect, and we know that as we launch today, more and more of our corporate friends and partners will join this effort, and this will be an amazing inflection point for our city. So thank you for being here this morning.
I'm Rabbi Gary Creditor. I'm board member of the Interfaith Center, as well as part of the committee for this project. And I'm Rabbi Emeritus of Temple Beth El here in Richmond. In December of 16, we met with Reggie Gordon in City Hall with an idea. I can't even say it was a vision, but it was an idea that was brought to us by our director, Kim Bobo. And a large number of people sat in that room and talked. But then it was brought forward, and a committee worked diligently over this long time to bring it to this moment, which is only a way station in time. This is a step in a long process that we hope will continue to, as Reggie said, make such a contribution to the citizens of Richmond and to the wider area. I would like to recognize at this moment people that have been part of this enterprise from both the city and from the center. Just by name, Ron Alpern, Kim Bobo, Kelvin Harris, Yvette Roots, Melissa Crumbine, and Rodney Hunter, besides myself. And I would like everyone here to just give them a round of applause and recognition. As I said, this is just a way station, and you are what we see as our ambassadors into the future, as you are our first step forward and luminaries to our city and to what can be the potential for the people of our city. We look forward to the continued work of this group, additional people to this group, and to more and more companies and organizations joining you in this commitment, and thus to the betterment of our society. And so that is where we are, and we welcome you and thank you all for your support and for being here at such an early hour. We thank God that it was snowed yesterday and not today. And with his blessings, we will go forward. I'd like to call upon one of our committee members, Reverend Rodney Hunter, pastor of Wesley United Memorial Church, for a prayer for this morning.
Thank you, Rabbi. Good morning, everyone. Shall we bow for prayer? Most holy and gracious Lord, what a great day to be in the land of the living, and what a joy to be in this fellowship this morning to say thank you for the privilege to celebrate the director of Interfaith Center, the mayor gathered here, staff, other officials, corporations, and companies. To say we've gathered together to find ways to celebrate companies and corporations and organizations doing that which makes lives better for all of our citizens. We give thanks, O Lord, for economics as always the great issue of the day. But we thank you for those corporations that do their best to give a living wage, to have benefits in times like these. Precious Lord, we know that we need finances to have the essentials of life. So we give thanks for this morning and thanking you for the food that we are enjoying this morning. And as we dine sufficiently, continue to strengthen us, that we find ways to do those things to better our communities, our children, our families. So we give thanks for this great day, this great celebration. Thank you for all who participated, gave of their time to you, the God of all creation. We give thanks. Let all of God's people say, amen. Amen. Thank you.
I think most people here know what this program is about. And for the details, they're in the packets that are at your table. But why are we worried about a living wage? What drives us, and I will say this from a faith-based side of the coin for the moment, and I would quote to you one verse from the Bible, and that's from Micah chapter 6, verse 8. And I should be fairly well known. It's been told to you, O man, what is good, and what the Lord doth require of thee, only to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. I think most of us in this room have not worried about the level of the living wage that we have in this program. We have been blessed. But we need to be humble with that blessing and realize that we don't necessarily deserve to be blessed, but we are blessed, and we have to extend that blessing to others. And we should do it because it's the right thing to do, because we believe in love and mercy and generosity, and that this is just. And by this program, we are really fulfilling this commandment, in a sense, from Micah, the prophet Micah, to our fellow citizens, and thus elevating and respecting the inherent holiness that is in every single human being. No one is more holy, no one is less holy. But not everybody's holiness can shine through when they are encumbered by less than a living wage. And so this is really one strategy that can really make a difference. Because when a wage earner comes home with a living wage, a barely living wage, if you do the multiplication, hours per week, weeks per year, and has health coverage or can hopefully afford to buy health coverage, not going into that subject separately, but we all understand it, then that brings dignity to that home. And it shows a model to the children. It changes the dynamics of humanity. And if even this is a small step, it is an important step. It's this side of the miraculous that we are here this morning from the very humble beginning we had in December of 16. And so we hope, and we will work, our committee and people that will join us further in this committee, with your support and your going forward to everyone you know, to be able to widen this and bring more companies and corporations and organizations to this threshold. And we can change our community. We can change our society for the better, along with all the other attempts and all the other programs that are there for this purpose. So to say the overview of this program is to get as many companies and corporations and organizations to rise to the standard. We have the gold standard, the silver standard, and the aspiring living wage, which I would like to just comment on briefly. We understand the dynamics of economics. And we understand that there are companies and organizations and corporations, big or small, that would like to rise to the silver or the gold standard, but their economics are only so much. But they have the right vision. They have the right idea. And we want to recognize them as well by establishing that. So we didn't go for the bronze or the whatever kind of other medals you might suggest, but the aspiring word caught our imagination. And we hope that they will be able to rise to other, but we want to recognize them to that level as well. So this is the overview. And this is the vision, and this is the reason. And we hope that with God's blessings and your support, that we'll continue to make a difference, a significant difference in our community. Now at this time, I'm not who's running the video for us. We have a video with remarks from Senator Tim Kaine.
Hi everybody, Tim Kaine here from the U.S. Senate. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person, but I'm very happy you asked me to participate in the kickoff breakfast for the Living Wage Initiative. This is an important issue to me, and I'm interested in finding ways we can raise minimum wage and generally raise the living standards of all of our folks, our working people. Nobody who works full-time, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year should live in poverty. But now our minimum wage level is set at a level where if you're a single adult with a dependent, in many parts of the country you are under the poverty line. For this reason, last year I sponsored the Raise the Wage Act to increase the minimum wage to $15 by 2024. We haven't adjusted the minimum wage for a very long time, and we need to keep pushing to make sure wages are fair for Americans working hard every day. So I'm committed to keep fighting to get the minimum wage above the poverty level, ensure pay equity for women, and put more money into the hands of American workers. Thanks for bringing together leaders in our community on this very important issue, and thanks to the employers who are paying workers fair and decent wages.
LeVar Stoney, our Honorable Mayor of the City of Richmond, is a champion. I'm sure, just like me, you feel this electricity in Richmond. I mean, this energy, something's changing, and it's changing for the better. The fact that we're here this morning is a testament to that. I get the opportunity to be in the presence of our mayor on a regular basis, at least on Monday mornings at our cabinet meetings. So I interact with him, and I have news for you. He's authentic. This really speaks to his core. He really believes in this. He's here this morning. He's in the community. He's at schools. He is on street corners. We've actually had a chance to chat with men on a street corner about their feeling of lack of opportunity in Richmond, and he pledged to them that he would do something about it. And I think this morning is proof of that. The Honorable LeVar Stoney, our mayor.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Now, the difference 24 hours can make, right? Yesterday, I thought that I was going to have to declare a state of emergency, and then now, 24 hours later, we have sun and no clouds, it looks like. So, good morning. I'll say it's great to be here with everyone today, and I'm grateful to see all of you here to support the launch of an important initiative to make paying a living wage a reality in our community. As you know, Richmond's Living Wage Certification Program is a joint initiative between the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy and the Richmond Office of Community Wealth Building. And I want to first say, the Interfaith Center for Public Policy, we've worked together in the past in my former role as Secretary of the Commonwealth to ensure that young men and women, or men and women of all ages can get the right to vote back. And so, once again, it's a pleasure to be working with you all to ensure that we can provide a living wage to those who are living in our community. Both entities, the Office of Community Wealth Building and the Interfaith Center for Public Policy, dedicated to the same mission. That is righting wrongs, stamping out injustice, and also ensuring we promote dignity amongst all of our people. As you all, the purpose of this program is pretty simple. First, we want to recognize employers who are already paying their workers a living wage, assist consumers in patronizing businesses that provide living wages, encourage employers who are not currently paying a living wage to adopt the campaign's thresholds, challenge employers who could raise wages and choose not to do so right here in the city. To me, it's really very simple. Everyone who works deserves to work for a living wage. Now, I got news for you all. A living wage is not $7.25 an hour. Now, I know this from personal experience, whether it's from my time of My first job ever was working as a bagger at a grocery store alongside adult men and women who were older than I was, but realizing that when I was getting paid $5.75 an hour, there were fathers and mothers also being paid $5.75 an hour and were asked to do a lot more with that wage than I was when I was doing it at a high school age. And as a son of a custodian and a grandson of a woman who worked in homes throughout the South, I know that you can't make all the ends meet on a minimum wage. We were commonly referred to as, you would say, the working poor. And there are a number of individuals who live in our city who also fall under that title. 29 states and the District of Columbia have raised their state minimum wage higher than the federal standard. Virginia has not. In addition, 39 local communities have raised their local minimum wages higher than the state's wages. Richmond cannot do this because Virginia, as you all know, is under what we call the Dillon Rule, which is I call the granddaddy of all preemption laws. But our research in our Office of Community Wealth Building demonstrates that to truly give our residents a chance to escape the stranglehold of generational poverty and climb the ladder of self-sufficiency, people need to make more per hour than many of us pay for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. As many of you know, 1 out of every 4 of our residents lives under the poverty line, including 40% of our children. This is simply unacceptable. Breaking the cycle of generational poverty is the moral challenge of our time. It is the key to unlocking the potential for our families to advance their futures, but also the futures of their children as well. It is the cornerstone of our goal to build one Richmond, a city that works for all of its residents by embracing the equality of opportunity regardless of where they live, what they look like, where they're from, or who they worship to. See, here in Richmond, we value work. Yes, jobs are important, but jobs that are worked full-time and still leave those workers below the poverty line may help a corporate bottom line, but it will not help someone up from the greater bottom, from the bottom. $11 an hour is a good start, but $16 an hour is an even greater difference maker. We also should not be talking about the importance of our residents being paid a living wage in the private sector if we are not prepared to back our words with actions here at City Hall. So that is why in my biennial budget, which was proposed a couple weeks ago, it includes money to fund the recommendations of the Gallagher study to pay all city employees a living wage. Additionally, we have pledged to bring those city employees who are being paid below the minimum standard salary for their job up to that minimum. This proposal would also take effect halfway through the fiscal year, beginning in January 1 of 2019. And here's the thing. There's a number of folks I ride the elevator with, folks who I interact with every single day when talking to my senior leadership to find and understand, to recognize that if we're not paying them a living wage, we're not doing our job as a city. And so we're going to change that. And as you know, no mayor, no CEO, no church pastor, no nonprofit leader, no individual can do this alone. But working together, we can in partnership. I believe there's a little we can't do. And that's why I'm so gratified to see so many businesses and community leaders here today who deserve proper recognition for the steps they are taking to make life better for the people who live here and work here to strengthen our community. In particular, I'd like to recognize our honorees. First, Altria, Better Housing Coalition, Bon Secours Richmond Health System, the City of Richmond, the Commonwealth Institute, the Richmond Association of Realtors, Silverman Law Firm LLC, University of Richmond, Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy, and the Virginia Local Initiative Support Corporation, LISC. Your leadership is an example. Yeah. Now, Reggie, are you here because you want them to come up right now and get them? Okay, all right. I was like, what's up? I had you at the bottom, but okay, all right. So, can Altria, Better Housing Coalition, Bon Secours, City of Richmond, the Commonwealth Institute, the Richmond Association of Realtors, Silverman Law Firm LLC, the University of Richmond, the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy, and the Virginia Local Initiative Support Corporation, LISC, all please come up.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Let's give everyone a round of applause up here. Everyone who just received a certificate is an example that we hope others will follow as this initiative gains more and more momentum. Sadly, we cannot wait for those in charge in Washington to do the right thing and fix the minimum wage laws. They seem more content to practice the politics of division and subtraction when what we really need to do is start talking about addition and inclusiveness and multiplication. So in Richmond, we are going to lead. Richmond is the first living wage certification program in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And there are 6 communities between North Carolina and Massachusetts doing the same thing. Much needs to be done to achieve our goal to reduce poverty and encourage wealth building, but the Living Wage Certification Program and your investment in the city is a great start in the right direction for all of our residents. So with your help, I'm confident we will succeed. Thank you so much.
We can certainly say from the Virginia Interfaith Center side of the coin that we are most grateful for the support of Mayor, Reggie, and the city in this endeavor, and only with this we know that it will succeed. At this point, I would like to call upon Mr. Paul Junot, the Director of Human Resources from Bon Secours.
Good morning. To all those gathered here this morning to highlight this movement, it's an important movement to promote dignity and respect in our workforce through the provision of a living wage. As I pondered the topic, why living wages matter, my mind first went to the many positive business outcomes that employers realize through the provision of a living wage. In fact, Henry Ford realized a century ago that when he significantly increased the wages of his workers so that they could afford to purchase a Ford Model T that they were building. This was revolutionary, and the strategy worked. All of us here can articulate the many business reasons why paying a living wage, or as we call it at Bon Secours, a just wage, makes good business sense. We expect a large number of more qualified applicants. We would expect lower turnover and higher employee engagement, both of which reduce expenses and improve customer and patient satisfaction. We expect to have more motivated workers who are more productive. So you get the idea, and we would all agree that it makes good business sense, especially in times like we have now, with a significant labor shortage in the Commonwealth and unemployment rates hovering around 3.5%. At Bon Secours, the motivation for us to pay a just wage is much simpler than all the reasons that I just listed. As a ministry of the church, we believe strongly that our coworkers are our sisters and brothers in God's global family, and that they were all made in His image. Thus, for us, it is a moral imperative that we make decisions such as offering a just wage that reflect this belief. So our philosophy around living wage goes well beyond the hourly rate. We design our health insurance plan so that lower wage earners pay less for their coverage, the same coverage, not a watered-down plan. We have on-site childcare for employees at 3 of our larger facilities, and those lower wage earners receive a scholarship for their children. They pay half of what other workers pay for childcare, and their children experience top-tier childcare. We partner with other organizations and ministries to do things like making ownership of a reliable vehicle possible for those who earn less. We structure our college tuition benefits to make it more feasible for lower wage earners to take advantage of that benefit. And the list goes on. The point is that a living wage goes far beyond the rate of pay. It is instead an overall philosophy that we, as an employer, support our coworkers so that they can thrive, not just survive. As of today, our just wage is $12.50, with plans to incrementally increase it to $15 an hour by 2022. That will affect more than 3,000 employees, and each year as we increase it, it increases our payroll costs permanently by $1.5 million. In healthcare, we operate on thin margins, and we have many priorities for our limited resources. Yet, we have made the decision that paying a living wage is one of the highest priorities for our ministry. Our next project is to work with those contractors who provide services to us to compel them to follow our lead and to commit to paying a living wage as well. Their employees are part of our family too. Finally, we want everyone to know that we don't pay a living wage with an eye towards locking people into the lower wage job categories. Quite the opposite. We pay a living wage with the goal of developing our lower wage earners so that they can move into higher paying careers. We have many examples of former housekeepers or childcare workers becoming imaging technologists, school teachers, or registered nurses. In other words, we do it not to lock them in, but to build them up. That's our goal. Thanks to all the employers represented here today for your support of your lower wage workers. After all, they are members of our family too. Congratulations on being recognized today. Thank you.
I would like to thank Paul as well as the mayor's comments, and because they contain the essence of what we're involved in, committed to, and really express them in the most beautiful language, and we thank you for that. And we thank Bon Secours. There's always somebody who is the initiator, person who is the straw that stirs the drink. I remember when our executive director, Kim Bobo, gave us a nearly 50-page document from Tompkins County, North Carolina, as the beginning of this project. And I read through it all, and I still have it. All right, it's part of that inch thick. But it was a gem of an idea. And it is a very special person who has really led us into this endeavor, as well as many others. And I would personally like to recognize her for all the energy, all the vision, and all the stamina that she has and has brought to our organization as well as to our community. And I call upon Kim Bobo, our executive director, for words of next steps.
So this program really builds on the work of the Virginia Interfaith Center over many decades. And so I would be remiss if I didn't recognize our founding director and a former director, Reverend Jim Payne and Reverend Fletcher Lowe, who are here with us today. Fletcher, all right. And we have a little breakfast club of Fletcher, Jim, and John. So John, who knows more about poverty than anybody in the city, is really part of our breakfast club, and they try to keep me on the straight and narrow. But I love this program. I love it because it really affirms the most golden of rules that undergirds all of our faith traditions. And it's really that same principle of loving our neighbor as ourselves and wanting the best for them that is the theme of One Richmond, right? It is a love of neighbor. I think that's what this program is fundamentally about. If we want living wages for ourselves, we want them for somebody else. And so we must care about the least of these in our companies. And it's both for-profit companies and non-profit companies. As our mayor said earlier, in Virginia, it's rough on this standards of living wages, right? We don't have anything but the federal minimum wage at the state level. We don't have many unions or worker organizations that raise wages. We are a Dillon rule state, which says Richmond can't raise their own wage. So, like, there's not that many tools out there other than us. Really, it needs to be us to raise standards and raise conversations. And this is a positive program, right? We can recognize and honor those who are paying living wages, but maybe even more important than that is we can use it to foster conversations with other businesses about the value to their companies, to the community, and to all of us for paying those living wages. So, what are the next steps? On your packet, in your packet, is this nifty form. Like, we're organizers, we're into forms, right? So, we're a small, mostly volunteer effort. We need your help. We would love you to help us make this happen. So could you help us find other businesses that are paying living wages or might want to pay living wages? Could you suggest particular businesses or business associations that we can get into? Could you tell us how we could honor and recognize you? So what do you need? Do you need stickers or our website or press releases, or what can we do to honor the good businesses out there? And can you connect us with some other communities? So we're starting a conversation right now. We've got programs beginning to go in Alexandria and Charlottesville, but maybe there are some other cities that might also want a living wage program. So if you fill out the form, if you talk to us, you'd help us, we'll try to follow up with you in the next week or two. Because again, we can't do it without you. So this morning, I particularly want to thank the mayor for his leadership. I want to thank Reggie. I love working with the Office of Community Wealth Building, with Yvette and Kelvin and Melissa and all the great partners in that office. And our certification committee, which was recognized earlier, but also we have two new members, Melissa Miller and Julia Seward, who are here, so thank you to you all. And we also thank our marvelous volunteer, Ron Alpern, who's helped move this program, so thank you, Ron. So indeed, I love this program. I think it has enormous potential, but it will only move forward with your help. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you for your help.
I could ask Jim and Fletcher if, in your day of leadership of the center, did you have the vision of where we'd be standing today? All right, what kind of things the center could be doing and the impact it could have. But it was because of your work in the earlier years that gave us the foundation to be whom we are today and whom we can be in the future. So I would like to personally thank my colleagues of the cloth for their labors then and continuing, and your encouragement every time we meet. And it's good to see you again this morning. I would just like to close by saying that this is not the end of anything. This is just very early in the process of this program. And to echo Kim's words, we need more people on our own committee. If you want to serve on the committee with us, just put a note on that page and say, I'd like to join you. And you will be asked, you'll be invited to the next meeting. We meet almost monthly, and we work hard. We're all volunteers. I do want to recognize Rachel, who's our intern, and anybody else from the, okay? And anybody, where's Rachel? Oh, she just left, okay. But Rachel, our intern, has been with us, and all the others from the Interfaith office Neil and Amanda and Brian, and who did I leave out? Okay. We thank them for their efforts that support our work, but mostly we're volunteers at the table, myself included, and we invite you to join us. We're going to close this morning, but nobody has to leave until there's still some food or certainly coffee, by calling upon my colleague, Reverend Jim Payne, founding executive director of the Interfaith Center, for our benediction. Careful with the wire. Just careful with the wire.
How sweet it is to be here today after being around a long time was my most distinguishing characteristic. And to have been a part of so many stones along with Fletcher and so many of you that were dropped under the water in building without seeing the grand structure that's come to be as a result of folks who've come after us and the dynamic whirling dervish that leads our staff and our program today, Kim Bobo. We're grateful for her. Let's pray together. Great and gracious God, who've made of all of us one community of caring, we're grateful for our kinship. We're grateful for your call that we do justice and love mercy and walk humbly with you. We're thankful for all others who've been added and who do that here and around the world and do it in so many workplaces represented and so many others in this community. Keep them and us and all your people in your care. Help us to renew our commitment to do justice and love mercy, to walk humbly, and enable us to be effective, we pray, as more and more we speak the good news that we're all one, and when our neighbors and brothers and sisters are lacking, we are lacking. Keep us in your care as we go about our work. Be with our families and all we love, and God bless our country and all those who seek to make it better, we pray. Amen. Amen.